30s are better than your 20s. And now I'm saying this right after I talked about my chronic knee issue in my 30s. Let me explain. You see, I would say you've learned lots after you hit 30, and you know more about yourself than you have ever before. But you, by then, sort of have a really good idea of what you like and what you don't like. So you can really look at your life at a more clear stance than in your 20s, where you're sort of all over the place. Your identity is not very well defined. I mean, even your teens, it's not very well defined. Your 20s is time for exploration, to figure all that out, which, yes, appears fun on the surface, but it can be quite exhausting. And you get to a point where, okay, I'm done with all this exploratory stuff. I really want to know who I am. Well, 30 is where you can really tap into that. You've sort of exhausted all options, and if you haven't, well then, unfortunately, your 30s might be worse than your 40s. So, exploration, I would say, is quite important in your 20s. You have the flexibility, unless you're kicked out of the house and then you need to have a serious life, then you might have to choose a very specific path. Otherwise, you will be homeless. But usually, you don't have a family yet, you don't have obligations, you don't have too much going on, so you can take some risks. And then by the time you're in your 30s, you might still be able to take a risk if you're delaying familyhood, like most people are these days. It seems like people are waiting until later. Well, 30s is where you can take some risks, take some chances. Give that book publication a try. Give that video content creation a try. Give that business a try. Give whatever hobby a try, because you can. You can do that. Maybe you've settled down in a job, you've got some spare time, and you don't have kids dealing with your spare time. So your 30s, you can get serious, you can get specific, you can get determined, and you can choose that path. Now, if you're so fortunate that you've experimented all you can in your teens, then in your 20s you could have been serious. And you see some artists, like musicians, who took it really seriously by the age of 15, and they were singing and fine-tuning their voices when they were 5, and by the time they were 16, they were megastars. Those are exceptions to the rule, but what always precedes this massive success is exploration, is testing, experimenting, trying, failing, lots of that. It's always preceded by success. There is no overnight success. Somebody studied, somebody learned, somebody made a bunch of mistakes before they became successful. Show me an overnight success and I will show you all of the hours put in to figure it out. Everyone wants things now, and it doesn't happen. Once you hit your 30s, things start to flow into the next. One day leads to the other. And then time actually goes by quite quickly. 1 year passes and you're like, whoa, how did that happen? And if you don't sort of plan your days, your weeks, your months, your years, 10 years goes by and you'll wonder what happened. So your 30s, you can look at things more calmly, I think. Maybe it's the reduction in testosterone or hormones or what have you, but things feel calmer. And hopefully things have settled down for you where you can really just lock in on a few elements of your life where these elements excite you. So yes, I would say your 30s can become more exciting than your 20s. You can potentially be at peak fitness around age 30 to 35. You can be at that peak level. To be honest though, people in their 50s and 60s and 70s have reached peak fitness, especially if they've destroyed their lives in prior years. So it's really interesting where you can really mold and adapt at any age, really. But 30s, you can certainly take a serious stance and not really care about what people think. You see, in your 20s, maybe you're worried about impressions. You're worried about people thinking about you. But no, in your 30s, you don't have to care. You can just do whatever. Because you know. You know you've tried, or you've not tried this, or you've not tried that. But you have tried this, and you have tried that. You just sort of have a better understanding. And every day is a better understanding of what you like and what you don't like. So that's it. You could say that your later years are always better than your earlier years because you become wiser. And improved intellect is wonderful. Okay. Till next time. Hope that made sense. Bye.